Hello guys and welcome to the Belgian Grand Prix of Division 2. This is Season 2 and we are on Round 2 as well, so the double 2 for this race. First of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Simracer for sponsoring our league. They help contribute towards the prizes for Division 1, so a massive thank you to them. And other than that, we will wait for the first driver to come out on track for I don't know what I'm trying to say here, hold on. For the first hot lap of Belgium, as they will most likely be the ones to come out first. It does look like it is dry, so that's a good sign for the drivers, because I know this track in the wet is not the nicest, especially the curbs. The curbs are your worst enemy, all honesty. Like, you touch the curbs and that's it, your car's probably going into a wall or someone else. It does look like we have a Red Bull, I believe that is a Blyther. Is that Blyther coming out in the Red Bull? I believe it is. Just is we also do have a Ferrari that is just behind him. I imagine that would be Why Not Beast, or is that Spanner? That looks like Spanner. So we'll stay on board with Blyther as he is the first one to come out of the pit lane. And then we will get into his hot lap. So obviously these corners are very tricky, especially a Rouge up to Radilon and then on the Camel Straight. It's a difficult corner if you don't get it right. Once you get the handling of it, it definitely is much more easier to get through those sharp corners. It's turn 3, 4 and 5 I believe, a Rouge. And obviously once you get the confidence we had to do it, you do get to grips with it, but when you first start, you're very concerned about spinning out, and it is very easy. You turn a little bit too sharp, and that will be you probably into the wall up by Radilon. And also this corner here, turn 11, which is known as Puhon, you touch that inside curb just there, and that's another death sentence right there for that corner. But we will wait for Blyther to get round. Oh, what have I done? And see if he, what time he'll be putting down for the first lap of qualifying here in Belgium for round 2 of Division 2. So as he just comes through the bus stop station, he's going to want a good bus stop chicane, sorry, not bus stop station. He's going to want a good exit out there, and he does look to get a decent exit. So going into La Source now, which is known as turn 1, you want to tuck into that inside curb and then open the throttle up on the exit, which looks like he has done so very nicely indeed. And then going through a Rouge, this is where it's won and lost for most people, and it looks like he has managed it pretty well, looking very confident going through a Rouge there. No sharp turns or anything, looking quite smooth. And then going along the Camel Straight, you want the DRS wide open, get as much speed as possible. You don't want to brake too late for this corner, but you do want to carry a lot of speed around into turn 7. You want to be careful with that inside curb on the right there, as that can definitely catch you out. But looking good so far through Le Combs, now down to Bruxelles, and you want to carry as much speed around this corner as possible. And it looks like Blyther has just slightly outbraked himself there, and he's gone into the wall, and that's the Red Bull. He has not lost a tyre, but so easily caught out, and I've been caught out there many times before. Just from that curve, it just catches you out so quickly, and it's when you just don't expect it. So who is on their hot lap? I believe it is James. So we will stay on board with James, as he is the next one that has started his hot lap. I believe that's a McLaren there in the grass, maybe just trying to get out the way, I'm not too sure, but we'll see what James can do, as I know he is one of the faster drivers in this division. I'm not saying the other drivers are slow by any means, I'm just saying they're all very fast, a lot of them. Some of them are faster than me, and I play the game quite a lot, so yeah, maybe I'm just not very good. But yeah, James is definitely a fast driver. I believe he uses no traction control as well, which is a real credit to him, because I know that it's very difficult to get the handling of. But so far this lap is looking very tidy. It doesn't look to be one that he's pushing on the very edge of it, but of course with your banker lap you don't want to be sending yourself into the wall, because That's the last thing you want. As you can see that Blyther did put himself in the wall, and now because of that he's going to have to do another lap, and he has not got a banker lap down. And I completely missed Joe. Joe, I'm so sorry, he's a set of 145.2 to take provisional pole for now. But of course, it is only the first lap set, so we'll see what time James puts down in the Mercedes, looking like a 143. A 143.4, so he is miles ahead of Joe, but Joe is on that medium compound tyre, so definitely the tyre difference does make a massive difference on this track. But obviously, I don't think it is 2 seconds, but I might be completely wrong, as LH44 set to 146 on those medium tyres, so Joe's actually 8 tenths up on LH44, and you can see scrolled there in the McLaren, 1.4 seconds behind P1 at the minute, so James wants to set a pretty decent time down for his first lap. So the McLaren takes P2 there, and Alex in the Red Bull, I believe he is on the medium compound tyre as well, doing a 145.5, so Joe must set a pretty decent time in that Aston Martin. And you can see there Marshall also coming across the line to take P5. He is currently on the soft tyres, but we'll go on board with a few other drivers. Who we got next? I believe that's an Aston Martin. Joe, who we got coming up to the line? That's a Ferrari. Looks like it's Why Not Beast. We'll see what time he sets. Sorry, it's an Alfa Romeo. That is my bad. It looks like he has gone for an extra warm-up lap or has spun out somewhere. We got the Mercedes and we got a Ferrari. So we'll stay on board with nope. Who is the next across the line? I'm trying to find out. I think it might be Twitch TV Curly. Yes, it is. So we'll stay on board with the Alpine driver of Curly and see what time he can put down for his first hot lap of this session. So going along Blanc-Simont now, the nice and long straight to end off the lap, and then you obviously do have the bus stop chicane, and you see there an Aston Martin driver just getting out of the way. I think he might have actually lost it, Joe. Joe might have lost it. I'm not too sure what happened there, but we'll see what time Curly sets now as he goes into the bus stop chicane, and it looks like he's caught the curb and had just spun out there. So easily done. Like I said before, the curbs are there to catch you out, and I don't like them either, and I'm sure none of the drivers here like them. But you just got to deal with it, and I mean the positives is he's P8. He is still ahead of Why Not Beast, as I believe he has gone for an extra warm-up lap, or it looks like he might have spun out, but he's only 7 tenths up on his time, so I'd imagine he must have spun out somewhere. So we'll see, there you go, 35 seconds up on his time, so he spun out just on that corner there, which I believe is turn 13. So we'll see what time he actually does set in that Alfa Romeo. And I know he has some very good pace. I know he's definitely got much better race pace than quali pace, as a few other drivers in here do, and that's obviously not a bad thing. Sometimes the race pace is more important than the quali pace. But we'll see what Why Not Beast does. He comes across the line, he loses the back end a little bit there, coming out of the bus stop chicane. It's a 144.4, so that's enough to take P3, so that's a very solid lap indeed. And obviously P2 and P3 separated by 1/10 of a tenth there. But we will now go on board with Joe. Joe, are you going any quicker? 1 minute? I'm not too sure if you're going quicker or not. We will find out once you come up to the sector timing line. But he did go wide there, so I imagine this is not a push lap and just a cool down lap. So we'll go and jump on board with somebody else who is improving on their time. We'll go on board with Marshall, as I believe this is his first race in Division 2. He's on a cool down lap as well. We'll go on board with the Ferrari of Spanner then, as I wonder if she is setting a lap or not. Only done a 146.6 so far, so 6 tenths off LH44. See if she can improve to maybe push up a few more positions. Or is this another cooldown lap? It looks to be another cooldown lap. Everybody's doing cooldown laps. Paige looks like she has invalidated. No, wait. It said she invalidated, no? Oh, it's Curly that invalidated. We'll stay on board with Paige in the Haas, as this is also her first race in Division 2. And we'll see what time she can set. As we do have a Alfa Romeo just getting out of the way there, going through the Pujon. Going very wide there, but not invalidating, so it must have just stayed within track limits. And she's done a 116.5 so far through Sector 2, and I have no idea if that's quick or slow, so I'll bear it in mind for the next one. But we'll see what time Paige can set as she comes across the line. So going along Blanc-Simont now, long straight. and then into the bus stop chicane. You don't want to brake too late through here, but you also don't want to brake too early, as it can lose you a lot of time. But it looks like she's got it spot on, really, without having to touch the curb. It's going to look like a 144, I'd imagine. Oh, it's way off. 145.7. So it's enough to take P10 for the time being, and obviously 2.5 more attempts, and you can possibly move up two more positions. So looking good for her so far in P10. Obviously, if you do move down into P11, you do get the option to start on fresh tyres, which could play a massive part in this race. And sometimes, in my opinion, P11 is better than P9 and 10, because if you start on fresh tyres, you're at a little bit more advantage, and you get to start maybe on a medium set of tyres instead of starting on your quality soft set of tyres. Different factors come into play. But who do we go on board with, as nobody is on a hot lap, which is always my biggest fear, because I got no one to commentate on. But as I say that, James, who is currently leading by half a second, he's just started his hot lap. So in the Mercedes now, we'll see what he can do. Blythe putting in a 143.9. I must have missed that, and I must say that is very good from him, as I must say he must have been practicing to have that sort of pace. I don't remember him having that sort of pace, and I do apologise if he's always had that sort of pace. But that's a good job from him so far in the Red Bull to get himself into P2. But we'll get on board with James and see if he is improving on his time or not. So he is currently matching his time, really. Going through the comms now, it's looking rather good. You don't want to touch the curbs too much, but obviously that one there you can ride as much as you want, because I don't think it's really there to catch you up too much. But we'll stay on board with him and see if he improves through sector 2. Obviously you don't want to invalidate either. And the yellow sector 1, 2 and 3, that'll just be drivers slowing down, warming up their tyres, getting out of the way of other drivers, and a few other factors. There's not somebody putting it in the wall this early on, guys, don't you worry. Creason has retired because he does have a quali ban, so he has not put himself into the wall just yet. No, I'm just kidding. He is just retiring from the race to start from the back of the grid. But James looking good so far. He's 2 tenths up on his time in that Mercedes. Just got to go along Blanc-Simont now, and then get through the bus stop chicane, and maybe even push into the 142s. If he has a lot of time to gain during these last 2 corners, we'll see in just a second. Braking very late there, and he managed to stop in time, so he must have got it spot on. But this is going to look like a low 143, I believe. Yep, so 143.1, so that's a very solid time indeed, and that is given something for Blythe with the chase. I don't think many drivers will be trying to get up to that pace too quickly, but that is a very quick time indeed. I would not get near that time myself, so I shouldn't say too much, because they'll swap me around. I'll no longer be Division 1, I'll be Division 2. I'm probably around a 144. Yeah, so I'm not as quick as some of these guys in here, which is always good, because then we have people to demote from Division 1, known as myself, and we got some quick drivers in Division 2 to prove themselves to get promoted up. But we'll stay on board with the McLaren of Scrolled, as last season he was very, very consistent. I say this every time. He is a very consistent driver. He always finishes up near the top 3 to top 5. He always gets there every race. Unfortunately, one time I did say that he crashed out on lap 1. Actually, he didn't crash out. I believe he got into a tangle with another driver. He did just invalidate, which is unfortunate for the McLaren driver. We'll now go on board with Why Not Beast, as he's just gone over the line to do his lap, or has he just started one? I'm not too sure. But anyway, as I was saying, Scroll, last time I did say he's a very consistent driver. He did actually retire from the race, so I'm not going to say anything. I've already said something. I'm really sorry for that. If he retires this race, it's not my fault, it's not the commentator's curse. I'm not taking responsibility for it. But anyway, Why Not Beast now nearly a 10th up on his time through Sector 1, and obviously that is quite a big difference through Sector 1, as all it is a bunch of straights and a few corners. So we'll stay on board with the Alfa Romeo, who is currently in P4, only needs 1/10 of 1/10 of half a tenth of a tenth of a tenth, or whatever. He's invalidated. It's so easily done. But we'll go on board with somebody else. We'll go on board with Joe, who's 1/10 up on his time, going through the same bit that Why Not Beast just invalidated through. Let's see if he makes it through. Swinging the back end around this corner. and looking to get around it rather nicely. So no mistakes from Joe through turn 11. You know my biggest fear? I feel like sometimes my mic's on mute and I'm like, have I just been talking to myself for the past 8 minutes or whatever it's been? But no, I'm okay. Oh, it's been 16 minutes, time flies. Osaki has not yet set a lap as well, so that's quite worrying for the Hash driver. I'm not too sure what's going on. I believe he is now out on the track just going through turn 11 right now. No, turn 12. Turn 10. Turn 10. No, turn 9. Yes, turn 9. Anyway, Joe is coming through the bus stop chicane now. What time is it going to be? It's looking like it's going to be around a 1:43, if I do say. A 1:43.9. So he has improved on his time and has moved up into P2. Blyther is going to be absolutely gutted as, I mean, he is 2 thousandths off P2. So he can just improve on his lap a tiny little bit and he'll be able to move up. And Marshall has invalidated on his time. Saki looks like he has retired from the session. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. We have drivers cutting the grass, doing the lawn mowing. Look at the nice pattern on the grass they have there. And Curly's going to go over it as well to make another pattern. I mean, that is beautiful. He's also kind of a little bit more near the polystyrene board that has the braking zones. So a little bit of grass cutting going on as well during this quali session, which is always great to see. But we will find a driver that's actually on a hot lap, because I don't want to bore you with lawn mowing. But no driver is currently on a hot lap, so I'm going to continue to bore you with lawn mowing. And Joe, there's no grass there, there's just gravel, concrete. But I wonder if he'll take the grass just in front of him. Oh, he's just going to miss it. Unbelievable. This is what it's come to, guys. We're trying to get drivers to take the grass. Why Not Beast is on the hot lap. I completely missed that. I'm completely sorry. But we'll see what time he sets as he comes across the... Wow! Oh my god, that back end is not stable at all. 2 seconds down, he would have lost around 2 seconds through that final chicane, so... I imagine he's going to be absolutely gutted with losing the back end a little bit there. But we'll go back on board with Marshall as he has just started his hot lap. He has just gone through sector 1. Obviously, he is a tenth down on his time, but he may be able to improve during the rest of this lap to try and move up a few more places. Obviously, he has to improve by less than a tenth to move up 1 place, but to move up 2, you got to improve by 6 tenths, which is quite a big jump. But we'll see if he can get that extra place ahead of Alex, who has just started his hot lap, I believe. Yes, just started his hot lap. So Marshall still 1 tenth down on his time, but obviously it's all to gain for in this last sector, as maybe just one silly little mistake through the bus stop chicane might have lost him a tenth that he can gain back. Maybe 2 tenths. He needs 2 tenths, sorry. So we'll see what happens as he comes across the line in about 12 seconds time. Back end looking rather stable through there. The Alpine, what time is it going to be? It's going to be a 1:44.8, so it's 7 tenths up on his time. I was not expecting that. That moves him up into P6. That's a very solid position to put his Alpine into. I did not expect that, but who we got on lap time? That is what I wonder. So that's going to be very interesting. But we'll wait for the drivers to select their strategy and all of that. Obviously, there is no more formation laps, so we jump straight into the race, which means you don't get my talk through all the drivers, which is probably a good thing because it probably bores you. It bores me. I'm kidding, it doesn't bore me, but I imagine it bores you. I bore you. Let's be real. But anyway, we'll wait 7 seconds for the drivers to obviously pick their setup and then jump straight into the race and see if Blyther can make a jump onto James into turn 1. Sorry, Joe. Okay, so 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and They're away in Belgium, and it looks like a few cars are already going quite wide to try and get into a better position for turn 1. No moves look to be made at the front, and it looks like Why Not Beast has decided to go up the inside of FN Nilla. Has he made the move? No, he hasn't. Further back, there's Carnage. I don't even know what's going on. Page has dropped down to P7. Spillage has moved up into P6. That is a very solid start from him. Spanner has moved up into P8. What a start it's been from her. And we already have Joe. Joe is out of the session. Joe's lost it on the Rouge, and that's another car as well. Who's that? That looks like Why Not Beast. Looks like them two have been caught up in a collision through a Rouge. That's not good for them. Further back, we have Alex making a move. There's 4 or 5 cars trying to make a move into Lecombs onto turn 7. Looks like Page has lost a few places there. LH moving up a few. Marshall also losing a few places along the start. Spanner has moved up into P5, which is, I mean, what's going on? What's going on? We have drivers jumping all over the place. Let me get the position changes up for you right now. So you can see there, Spillage and Spanner moving up 5 and 7 places. So them two must have had an absolute flyer of a start. But we'll go a little bit further down as we have LH44 under attack from Marshall. Sorry, LH44 is attacking Page, my bad, and is also under threat from Marshall. Blythe has moved up. Well, James has lost it. That's our championship. And that's multiple cars. That's multiple cars out. It looks like, oh my god. That's 1, 2. How many cars is that? Scroll is out of the race. Alex is out of the race. Shaki's wondering what the hell just happened, but he'll take the places. Why Not Beast is limping home, I believe. Does he have damage? I'm not too sure. Creason, have you got damage? Again, I'm not too sure. I imagine James will have damage. It doesn't look like it, you know. Curly is in P8. Marshall P9. LH44 is in P6. Page is in P5. Spanner has moved up into P4. Spillage is in P3. Blythe is in P2. And Nilla is now leading the race. What a crazy start this has been to the Belgian Grand Prix. We have P2 out of this race. P1 is currently running last. Why Not Beast has dropped back a few places. That's another car. Who is that? Twitch TV Curly has lost it somewhere. As everybody got through the final corner, this is absolute mayhem. And the camera's being really bad for me. But anyway, Nilla is now leading this race with a 1.6 second gap. Blythe is the fastest sector 1. He's going to be charged down. He can probably see the win in his sights now if he can just catch Nilla. Spillage has moved up into P3. Spanner has moved up into P4 from P12. Page has moved up only 1 place. And that's now Curly out of this race. Looks like he has lost it through a Rouge. James is going to come out of the pits in P11. And he has got so much gaining to do. This is all to play for now, as this is opened right up. I can't believe what happened at the start there. That was absolutely crazy. So we'll stay on board with Marshall, as he is the closest one to any other car. Sorry, I take that back. LH44 is the closest, and he is on the back of Page currently. We'll see if he makes a move down Blanc-Simont, but that was an absolutely crazy start. James is 32 seconds behind, so he has got a lot of gaining to do. And we can also see Why Not Beast now on the back of Saki. Will he make a move there? I'm not too sure. But LH44, will he try and make a move down the inside? Doesn't look to be on the bus stop chicane. FN Nilla. The gap has now decreased by 4 tenths to Blythe. Blythe setting the fastest lap of the race just there. But wow. I still can't believe what a crazy start that was. You can see there Why Not Beast coming into the pits now. I'm not too sure what's happened with him, but we'll stay on board with the drivers here as Spanner picks up another 3-second time penalty. So it looks like LH44 is going to make a move on Page down the Kemmel straight. He goes into P5. Page moves down into P6. Will he keep the... Or... He looks like he's going to go defender. Spanner does break a little bit later than Thingy. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. LH44 expected. Saki looks like he is now retired from the race. We've got drivers dropping like flies. It's a virtual safety car. And I said to the drivers at the start, please don't let there be around 50 safety cars. Well, they're giving me virtual safety cars, that's for sure. Lap 3 already and we're on 3 virtual safety cars. I mean, the good thing is... obviously James doesn't get to actually catch up, which is unfortunate for him. But we've only got 10 drivers left in this 15 driver race. Nilla is currently running away with the win right now. Blyther, what happened to Blyther? I completely missed this. As Blyther appeared, Blyther's lost a wing. I'm not too sure what's happened there. So Blyther has lost a wing, so he's gonna have to come into pit. We have got the drivers who started in the top 3 out of this race or at the back of the grid. Which means, are they going to have enough time to come through during the rest of the race? But I don't think so. I think they're too far back now. But I might be wrong. But Nilla currently leads this race, followed by Spillage in the AlphaTauri, Spanner in P3, in the Ferrari LH44 in the Alfa Romeo, and then Page and Marshall P5 and P6. Blyther obviously is going to have to pit, which means he's going to come out in around P8. And then why not Beast and James finishing off the remaining of the drivers. And DRS has now been enabled, and Nilla has pulled 4 seconds to Spillage, so Nilla is currently flying ahead. He's loving life at the minute. But as I speak, it looks like Creason just getting past there. That'll just be because of the pit stop. But now Paige is still on the back of LH44. She will have DRS on him, which will help keep behind LH44 for the time being. Now LH44 is closing the gap onto Spanner in the Ferrari. You can see Paige running a little bit wide there, which could lead to a warning, which you don't want at this early stage, as you don't want to be racking up the penalties too quickly. But so far, Spillage, Spanner, LH44 and Creason have all moved up at least 7 places. And oh my god, that looks like the Ferrari of Spanner has... I'm not too sure what's happened now. I was looking at the timing. I wonder if LH44 has got side pod damage from that incident. But it looks like Spanner has parked it in the middle of the track and he took out a teammate. Has lost her front wing. So that's another driver out now. Not out. Is going to have to pit. Everything is happening at the Belgian Grand Prix. This is mental. But Marshall now is on the back of Page. So we'll see if Marshall will be able to have enough pace to get behind, get in front, or Page. As I mean, if Marshall can just gain a little bit more, he can move up into P4, and the podium spot is just there. So I can't believe we've already lost 6 drivers. But we'll stay on board with Marshall and see if he can catch up to Page. So now Marshall 5 tenths off the back, 4 tenths off the back of Page, so he might be looking to make a move in these coming laps. And it has made my life a lot more difficult with that many drivers already out of this race, as I've only got 9 drivers to commentate on, so I'm going to have to start telling you guys some of my life stories. I haven't really got any. I've got a pretty boring life. That's it, really. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But we'll stay on board with the Alvin of Marshall, who is currently on the back of Page, looking to get past the Haas driver. Obviously, both on their debut in TRRL in Division 2. Obviously, if you would like to join, just pop in a message in the chat. I don't think I put the link to the Discord in the description this time. That's my bad. Yeah, if you'd like to join this carnage, I promise you it's not like this every week. I think we just had a pretty rough start at the start there. And as I speak, LH44 has actually closed the gap to the AlphaTauri of Spillage. Let's see if he can get past. So 2 little battles going on right now. One for P2 and one for P4. Will LH44 make the move before Rouge? I was hoping not, because we might have been down to 7 drivers. He might make the move though. Oh, it looks like he did lift off the throttle a little bit there, but I imagine he will get Spillage along this straight now, as he has got the DRS wide open and he just cruises past. And outbreaks. Oh no! LH44 has lost it. Has he lost a tyre? He's lost the car. And that's another driver that is being caught out by the curves. And now Marshall can see the podium in his sights. So all he's got to do is make a move on Page. He goes for a dive bomb down the inside. Looks like Page gave him room. And I imagine as he has got the inside line, he has got the move done. So that's Marshall now up into P3. LH44 has dropped back to P5 after losing it on the curb. Just going a little bit too quick over the curb. Oh, mate, these curves are deadly. FN Nilla is actually having a party out there at the minute. Just sat cruising in first, doing his own little thing. Spillage had a little fright, got overtaken, then saw someone spun out in front of him. But other than that, we're down to 9 drivers still, which is great. We've still got 9 drivers. But obviously Paige is still on the back of Marshall, but obviously the gap is increasing ever so slightly. But she will have DRS coming up before the bus stop chicane. That's a yellow step 2. Who's that? Looks like Creason has gone wide there. As he rejoins the track, looks like does not make any contact with Why Not Beast, and that will probably be the first time Why Not Beast can see somebody after having to catch up a little bit. And Creason's gone very wide there, and he's gone into gravel. Is he going to make contact with the wall? Yes, he is. Every driver losing it right now, and James, you can see James spinning around. Every driver's having problems. You see LH44 limping into the pits right now. Blyther working his way back up. Obviously, he's put on soft tyres, so he isn't going to have to pit. He is going to have to pit again. But he's worked his way back up into P6 now, which is good news for him. Paige might be able to get past Marshall here. I don't think she's just going to be close enough to make the move. Just ran out of track a little bit there, going down the Kemmel straight. But we're on lap 7 of lap 22 already. We are 1/3 of the way through the race, and we have already lost over 1/3 of our drivers, which is not a good sign. So we'll stay on board with Paige as she is the closest to any other driver. Currently sat in P4. And obviously we do have Blyther, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race. So he's looking like he might be in contention of winning this race, but obviously he is going to have to pit again because he put on the soft tyres. And we do know James has got very good pace, but James is, I believe, 17 seconds behind Blyther. So maybe Blyther will be able to win this race. I say that, but he's going to have to pit again, and Miller, Spillage, and Marshall are still miles ahead, and that's a yellow set of 1 and 2. That's a Ferrari, I believe it is. That's Creason. That's Creason going wide at the comms, maybe just getting caught out by the curb once again. Marshall decides to come into pit. No, sorry. Spillage decides to come into pit now, and you can see there a few drivers having slightly older tyres than everybody else. That's just because obviously having a pit at the start. What tyres is he putting on? Are those the hard compound tyres? Yes, it is. So Spillage has gone for the hard compound tyres, which could be interesting. Looks like he is not wanting to pit anymore during this race. And there we go. So it looks like a pit stop does cost you around 18 to 20 seconds for a pit stop at Spa. So we'll bear that in mind. But Paige is now caught to the back of Marshall once again, and will be within DRS for the next DRS zone if she can keep it there, as the next DRS zone is actually miles away. It is on a whole nother lap. So there's only 2 DRS straights, which is along the pit stop straight and the Kemmel straight. So only 2 DRS straights on this track. I thought there was one along Blanc-Simont, but I must be completely wrong. So we'll see what happens throughout the rest of this race. Obviously 14 laps to go. If I don't fall asleep before the end of it, that would be a real accomplishment. But obviously we do have a few drivers on medium tyres. It says they've not done any laps on them. Is that a glitch? I believe it is not. I believe they must have just pitted. That would make sense. So they're looking to go to the end of this race on those tyres. Nilla is cruising in P1. Marshall decides it's time to come in and pit. We'll see what tyres he will be putting on that Alpine. Looks like he'll be putting on those medium compound tyres. So let's see where he comes out. I imagine, yes, behind Spillage. Maybe even Blyther. We'll see if Blyther will be able to get out in front of him. I do not think Blyther will be able to. And in Blyther's rear wing, he will be able to see Why Not Beast just there. But Marshall now looking to go to the end of the race on those medium compound tyres, I would imagine. And it's looking like a one-stop strategy will be the fastest for Spa. So I imagine Nilla and Page will be coming in to pit rather soon, put on the medium compound tyres. Obviously these two are actually quite far ahead, so they can make those soft tyres go a little bit longer. Might be a good choice, as then you have a lot more tyre life at the end of the race to obviously defend if you need to. But right now I don't think Nilla is in any form of need to defend, as he is seconds upon seconds ahead of most drivers. I believe he is, if I do my maths correctly, he is 6 seconds ahead of Spillage, 5-6 seconds, somewhere around there. So we'll see if Nilla decides to come in to pit this lap. I see yellow sector 2. Who is that? Looks like Spillage has lost it on those hard tyres, and he's lost an M plate, which is not good at all when he's crashed into the wall and retired. Anyway, Nilla has decided to pit. The safety car has just come out right in front of him, which is a dream come true for Page, Nilla, as I think these two might be even P1 and P2. I think Marshall will come out in front of Page. Oh, yes, Marshall will come out in front of Page. Page might come out behind Blyther, but I imagine Blyther will pit. Why Not Beast pit as well? Yes, Why Not Beast will pit as well. So most drivers pitting here, so this is going to make it very interesting, as every driver will be able to catch up to the pack, and we will have a bunch of racing once again. So you can see every driver there pitting. I imagine Creason, I mean, there's not much point in pitting because he's already got 1 lap of medium. So if you want to get an extra life, 1 lap of life into those medium tyres, you might as well. But I think he's quite far behind, so I think he does just need to catch up. So I think pitting will probably make it so he will not catch up to the safety car on time. So Creason, if you listen to me, please don't pit. It'll be a bad choice. And Blyther's retired there. What's happened to Blyther? He's lost it at a Rouge under safety car. And that's not the first time I've seen somebody retire under safety car in Belgium at a Rouge. Oh, and I've also hit the safety car at Belgium. Belgium is not a good track, and you can see from the amount of drivers left, it is not a good track at all. Only 7 drivers are remaining. We've lost over half the grid. So obviously P2 and P3 both do have penalties, which is going to play its part definitely upon the safety car restart. Yes, Ninja Pinguino did actually crash under safety car through a Rouge, and I also crashed into the safety car at Belgium. So I mean, I'm not gonna make fun of Jay for crashing in under the safety car, because I mean, crashing into the safety car is much worse. So we'll wait for the safety car to come in. I believe it'll be another lap. can see everybody is charging their battery, making sure they have a full battery for the safety car restart. You can see Nilla warming up his tyres just there, keeping it in gear 5 for along the Kemmel Straight. Keeping it in gear 5 the whole time, dropping down to gear 4 there. So I'm now commentating on what gear people are in, because that's what this race has come to. Is anybody gonna cut some grass for us? No, we don't look it. We've had a lot of people go and paint some of the walls that are around here. So we are now halfway through this race, and there will be 11 laps to go. Obviously, if the safety car comes in this lap. So we will wait for the what car is that? I believe that is a Aston Martin. Am I being wrong? I might be being wrong. Aston Martin's green, right? That's the Mercedes. So looks like the safety car is coming in this lap, so there are 7 drivers. That means 4 of them aren't getting a podium, 3 of them are. One of them's going to win. I mean, you got a pretty good chance of getting a podium, right? It's nearly 50%. You're looking at around what? 38% chance of getting a podium? No, 42. I'm not too sure, but we'll wait for Nilla to get going, as he is the one to start off from the safety car, and it's like he has gone just there, and it's like Marshall is decently behind him. We'll see if anybody does decide to make a move going into the comms. It looks like LH44 has clipped the back of Why Not Beast there. I imagine that will give him some wing damage. Already a collision upon our drivers before we even got out of turn 1. But Nilla only half a second ahead of Marshall. Obviously Marshall will not have DRS along this straight just yet. Why Not Beast is looking to make a move on Page to move up into P3. I'm on the podium spots. Will Page does not outbreak Why Not Beast. So looks like Page will now move down into P4 and will be under attack from James, which is actually going to be rather interesting because James is a very quick driver, as we've seen in the qualifying. So I think James might be able to win this one here if he can just keep it together, as Page does go defensive, but James finds his way around and moves up into P4, which means Page moves down into P5. Obviously, these drivers moving down into P5, 6 and 7, I mean, it's still a good result, right? I mean, if I got that in Division 1, I would be happy with my performance. Even if, and that's, Why Not Be spinning around? I'm losing and going into the wall. That's another driver out. Oh, okay, still in. It's okay. James now moves up into P3. We don't have a safety car, which is absolutely lovely. So that moves Page, Reason, and LH44 all up one place. I imagine LH44 will have a nice bit of rear wing damage after that one, which is not what he would have wanted. But FN Miller's probably a little bit worried right now, trying to get ahead of Marshall as quickly as possible, knowing that James is on the charge to win this race. And if I had put my money on it, I'm sorry Nilla, but I would have to give it to James, as I believe he is going to win this one just down to his pace. But it does look like it's getting slightly misty, so maybe some rain will be on its way. I mean, if I was one of the slowest drivers among these last 7, I would have put on a pair of softs and hoped for some rain. But LH44 comes out there, and what tyres is he on? No, sorry, not Beast, that's my bad, he goes out on mediums. So yeah, I would have put on some soft tyres and just hoped for a little bit of rain and shoot. And you can see there, as I say that, a little bit of rain is coming down. So we're going to have some rain here in Spa, and that is going to shake things up quite drastically. Who's going to come in the pit first to put on the intermediate tyres? Your lap time is going to be wanting to get around a 1:55, I believe, before you want to put on those intermediate tyres. But don't hold me accountable for it. If one of you drivers are listening to me, then probably do the opposite of what I say. But anyway, LH44 is now on the back of Creason, looking to make a move. It looks like Creason's actually an AI. We have drivers in AI now. At least they won't crash. That's the positive. So LH44 is just going to breeze past Creason, really, as... I mean... Mate, this AI is terrible. What's Creason doing in AI? And our Marshall does get overtaken by James, so I imagine James has sent one down the inside of Marshall there to move up into P2 now, and LH44 has gotten past Creason, who is probably still in AI, aren't you? Yes, you are. But Nilla and James now, this will be the battle for the win as it stands. But obviously the rain is coming, so anything can happen, and going through a Rouge is going to be even more scarier than it was before. But I think James is going to breeze past Nilla this lap, just due to the pace advantage that Mercedes has got. I promise all the cars are on equal performance, don't you worry. But yeah, we will just wait for James to whiz around and probably take the lead of this race and go on to win. But if I was Nilla, I would happily take a P2. Would be a little bit gutted losing the P1 spot, as he looked quite comfortable for the win until that safety car occurred. But I would happily take P2. And that's a yellow sector 1. That is why not Beast now out of this race. So we're nearly down to 1/3 of our drivers that we started with. And that is a safety car. So I imagine drivers are now going to pit and put on the intermediate tyres. Or maybe, no, it's not even early enough for that to happen. So we will see if Nilla decides to come in and pit and put on the intermediate tyres. Now, depending on how long the safety car will take, you will want to do that. As these other drivers... Marshall's going to stay out. Marshall's going to take the gamble and stay out. Maybe it's not going to be heavy enough for those intermediate tyres. But Nilla comes in and puts on the intermediate tyres. James puts on the soft compound tyres. Now, this is very interesting indeed. What is Paige going to put on? Paige has put on a new set of mediums. LH44 is going to go for a set of soft tyres. So Nilla is the only one to put on the intermediate tyres. Now, is this going to help him, or is the rain going to get worse? And as I can see right now, the rain is getting worse. So from what I can see, Nilla has made the right choice. So we will see as the weather decides to change a lot. We will see what was the right strategy call, but as it stands, Nilla has made the correct call here. But you can see there the rain is starting to come down a lot more heavier now, so I would imagine that the intermediate tyres was the correct choice. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more drivers coming in the pit this lap, or maybe it looks like the rain is starting to slow down a little bit, or I might be wrong. You can see the spray coming up of Marshall. We'll find out what the drivers choose to do coming the end of this lap. Will they decide to come in and put on the inters? I believe the intermediates are the right choice, but I don't know if it's going to get worse or not. If it's not going to get worse, I'd take the gamble and try and stay out on slicks. But it does look like it's getting worse. So Marshall is going to come into pit. Friesen's also going to come into pit with his lovely AI. Okay, it must be right, the AI's pit. Not sure why Friesen is in AI. He is not allowed to be in AI. But he is being AI for a few laps now, so that will be something said about that at the end of the race. We have 8 people watching. I don't know why. We have more people watching than we do drivers. That's unbelievable. First time that's ever happened. Thanks, guys. That's not a good thing either, because we've hardly got any drivers. So we stay on board Vanilla, who is currently in P1. Somehow James has jumped 2 people in the pits. He's magically done that somehow. I'm not really too sure how he's managed that, but he is now right behind Nilla. So these last, I'd say 7 laps of racing are going to be very interesting indeed. Marshall and Page have just overtaken each other. Did Page have to give the position back? I believe so. So we'll watch these drivers waddle around the track and catch up to the safety car and get underway once again. So we will wait for our lovely notification that says the safety car will be coming in this lap, which I'm hoping will be this lap. I don't see why it wouldn't be, because all the drivers caught up to the back of the car, pack, sorry. And then we will get underway for the remaining 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, or 8. How many racing laps is it? Lap 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 7 laps of racing. To think that I got a B in A-level maths is kind of worrying. That I can't work out how many laps are left between 17 and 22. But we'll wait for Nilla to get underway again here in Belgium. But this time, it's not going to be as easy to pull away from P2 as it was last time, as that Mercedes is looking for the win here today. So I imagine FN Nilla will put his foot down right about now, and we'll be getting going as we get the lovely helicopter shot. But it looks like James has got a much better exit and is already on the back of FN Nilla. Is he going to make the move before a Rouge? It looks like he's going to go for it. Okay, this could... no, it looks like FN Nilla does decide to back out of it, as James does get a very good... Then that's Friesen now retired from the race. And we are down to 5. We are now got 1/3 of the grid left. Great job, guys. You've got over a 50% chance of getting a podium. Would you believe that? FN Nilla looks like he's going to try and make a move back on James. He's going to try and outbrake James with it. Looks like James decides to outbrake Nilla as well. So it looks like James will keep that position up in P1 and will go and storm ahead now to take the win, as long as nothing drastic happens and he decides to paint some more walls like other drivers have done in this race, or cut some grass, or anything else the drivers have done. Go sign some papers from the fans. We'll see if LH44 can catch up the back of Marshall for that last podium spot. As long as the drivers now can bring it home, they will be getting some points, which is always good, isn't it? So we'll go back now and watch LH44 and see if he can get past Marshall, as Marshall is actually catching up Nilla. Nilla must be struggling in the wet, which is not good news for him at all. He's 1 second ahead of Marshall, and hopefully the battle between Marshall and LH44 will form a slightly bigger gap for him to be able to keep that position. So LH44 looks like he is going to go around the outside of Marshall into the bus stop chicane, and that move was made easy as Marshall gave the outside line to LH44. So now will LH44 have the pace to be able to catch up to the back of sorry, that was his old name, DPR Nilla. So the gap is currently at 1.2 seconds. We'll bear that in mind. It's already dropped down to under a second, so we can already see that Nilla is struggling a lot in the wet. It looks like he struggled a lot through a rouge there, and now LH44 is going to be right on the back of him going through Le Combs, it looks like. So this is not good news for Nilla. He might be looking at a P3 here, as I don't think Marshall has got quite enough pace to be able to get past the McLaren, but I think the Alfa Romeo has enough pace to get past the McLaren, as he's already gained 7 tenths through sector 1. So we'll stay on board with LH44 and see if, when he gets the move done. And the bottom two also do have penalties, so they will have 3 second time penalties. LH44 now just on the back of, and that's James having a 3 second time penalty. So that's going to make things slightly interesting, because if LH44 can get past Nilla, he might have the pace to stay within 3 seconds of James and potentially get the win here. But at the same time, if Nilla can stay within 3 seconds of James, he can also get the win, but he's going to have to keep LH44 behind him at the same time. So Nilla is currently in a position for a win right now, but at the same time, he's in a position for P3, and James doesn't look to be going too fast. There we go. The gap has increased. Oh, we're getting very close there between LH44 and the McLaren of Nilla. Just braking just in time. We'll see if LH44 gets the move done. I believe his best opportunity will be along the Kemmel Straight. How much ERS has he got left? He's got more than Nilla, which is going to play a massive part in this charge along the Kemmel Straight. Both of them are using overtake, deploying power. You can see Nilla there weaving to try and break the slipstream effect, but LH44 decides not to go for the move just yet and backs off. So Nilla still defending to try and keep that P2 position, and I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he will be able to keep his P2 position. But like I say, LH44 is all over the back of him for that position to move up into P2. And let's have a look at the position changes. I know there's only 5 drivers left, but you can see that LH44 has moved up into PA, and he does crucially get a 3 second time penalty, and that is going to be so important in his fight for P2, because as long as Nilla now does not get a penalty and just keeps LH44 behind him, he will be keeping that P2 position. Even if he does let him pass, he's just got to stay within 3 seconds of LH44. So if he can keep him behind for maybe one more lap, or is LH44 going to get the move done here coming up to the bus stop chicane? Nilla would have just got a warning for that, so that might be very crucial. LH44 looks to try and go up the inside. Will Nilla be able to defend as he has the inside for this corner? And it's like Nilla just stays in front for now, but it looks like LH44 has got a very good exit out of the bus stop chicane and will move up into P2. But no, Nilla is going to brake a little bit later than LH44. Let's see who gets the better exit out of here. Looks like LH44 once again has got the better exits, which will move him up into P2. And I think DRS has just been enabled, and Page has just got past Marshall. Marshall has lost it. Track looks to be drying up. Page has now moved up into P4, sorry. And Nilla now has DRS, which is going to make his life so easy. In fact, I thought he was even going to get past LH44 then. But all Nilla has got to do is stay behind LH44 for these next few laps. And if I was Marshall right now, I'd just put on a fresh set of softs and go get the fastest lap, because the track looks fairly dry. But Nilla, all he has to do is stay within 3 seconds of LH44. The gap is currently at 7 tenths, and it is pulling a bigger gap every lap. But if he can just try and stay in DRS for one more lap, I think he will stay within 3 seconds of LH44. So we'll see what he can do during the last sector. And if I was him, I would use all of the ERS he has left just to try and stay in DRS for this last lap. And if I was LH44, I'd use the ERS that I got, which he is doing, to pull out of that DRS zone, and he has done rightly, and the gap is now up to 1.4 seconds. So that could be quite crucial in the fight for this P2, as now Nilla does not have DRS on LH44. So I think LH44 is going to be able to gain 3 seconds on Nilla. Let's see what Marshall does. Does he decide to come into pit, put on those fresh set of softs to go for fastest lap? Yes, he does. You might as well get the extra point. Is it extra point or is it extra 2 points? I'm not too sure. But you might as well add that to your tally, as you are now 7 seconds behind the next car in front of you. Just do everything you can to get as many points as possible from this race. So, who to stay on board with? I don't know. We'll stay on board with LH44, as he is trying to improve his gap to Nilla in the McLaren. So the gap's still currently at 2 seconds. And now Nilla does pick up a 3-second time penalty, so that means he is not in the fight anymore for P2, which is probably kind of annoying for him, but at the same time, a podium here in Spa is always good. So we'll go on board with Marshall, as he's currently got on the soft tyres, and we'll watch him go for fastest lap. And how do I get up fastest lap? It is right here. How do I get up the timing? Lap data. There we go. Perfect. So obviously this will be his lap coming out of the pit lane, and then he's got a 1:46 to beat to be able to take the fastest lap of the race. I would not use your overtake just yet, Marshall. Save it for the hot lap in the race. But we will now move on to the final lap of the race. So we will stay on board with James for this one, as he rightly deserves the footage of him winning the race, as he's done a good job to do that. So a really strong performance from the Mercedes driver. Just really unfortunate for the McLaren driver of Nilla, who's managed to still get a podium, but it is only P3. But it's still a podium. We look at the positives. Optimistic. So just a final few more corners to go at the Belgian Grand Prix for James. Marshall is 5 times up on his time. Let's have a quick look, see what his fastest lap was. Okay, he's got some time to improve. Let's see if he can do that or not. So, James comes across the line to win the Belgian Grand Prix, round 2 of Division 2. So, good job to him. LH44 comes across the line to take P2, a podium position for him. So, really good job in that Alfa Romeo. Nilla comes across the line to take P3. That is still a solid result, Nilla, but just unfortunate there with the safety car that brought it back together, because he did have a potential win on his hands. Paige comes across the line to take P4. That's a good result for her on her first race in Division 2. And Marshall comes across the line to take P5. And I do not know if he got fast lap or not. We will find out in just a second. So our driver date is LH44. Just for gaining the mid positions. I mean, you gain 10 from So, Marshall was 6 tenths off getting the fastest laps. That's really unfortunate. So LH44 will take the fastest lap point. But that is it for the Belgian Grand Prix of Division 2. So, thank you all for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed the mosh pit of the cutting the grass, painting the walls. But real congratulations to our top 3 drivers, who are James, LH44 and Nilla. But thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you in the